Good morning, everyone. Today I'll present our work titled MISTA, Compact Multi-Identity Structural Weight Tensorized Avatars, that has been accepted at the International Conference ICASP. This work focuses on learning a compact and generalizable model to present several avatars using one single camera and one single model. So, as we know, we use a multi-view capture setup to capture an accurate 3D human body or scene, 3D scene, to have the depth and geometry information. But those setups are too complicated, and we need the synchronized cameras, and also we need how can I say it, complex calibration to use those setups. So they are too expensive, and they are not usable for real-world scenarios. That's why we tend to use a monocular video, because they are too simple, and we can capture a monocular video just by using a monocular camera, for example, a phone. But the problem with those type of setups, it's we have the lack of depth information, because for each how can I say it, a pixel, we have just 2D coordinations, so we don't have the depth information. And those applications, meaning photorealistic avatars, we need them to, for applications like VR and ER, ER applications, and for example, for sports scenes, and for telepresence, for example. So the research question is, how can we build a single compact and scalable model for multi-identity human avatars for monocular videos while preserving visual quality? And we need to understand why this is, that's not easy to do. To understand that, we need to look into the state of the art. So we can divide the state of the art into two groups. The first group is per identity models. For example, human nerve, 3D GS, 3D Gaussian Splatting avatar, and GoHuman. We can, in fact, split those models into two groups. Models that are based on implicit representations like nerve, and explicit or semi-explicit representations like 3D Gaussian Splatting. But to simplify things, I will group them all together. So for those models, we have high visual quality, accurate reconstruction, but the problem or the limitation with these problems, we have to train one model per identity, meaning to, if we want to add a new avatar, we need to train another model from scratch to represent this avatar. So that means we have a high training cost, and it's not scalable, because for each avatar we need to add a new model. So for this reason, we have a second type of models that's called generalizable models, like V2 Avatar Pro, parametric Gaussian human models, and mix. Those two models, like V2, we have V2 Avatar Pro and parametric Gaussian human model, they use a universal prior model that are trained on multi-camera, multi-identity, and then we fine-tune this model to a single person, and using a monocular video. And for this type of models, they use low rank representation. So the hypothesis is these avatars, they share correlations, meaning between avatars we have maybe the same clothes, same shape, same hair color, etc. So we need to factorize all those parameters into one-dimensional, one low-rank representation. So the limitation with those problems is that they share. The advantage is that they share the same representation, the same model across all the identities, and they reduce redundancy between identities, but they require a large model size. For example, for V2 Avatar Pro and the other model, they require a universal prior. And for the mixed model, they use a fixed rank for all the components to represent the low rank representation. So before representing our model, I need to give an idea of this mixed model. It's multi-identity Gaussian splatting via tensor decomposition. So we have a big tensor. In this tensor, we have all the parameters of all the avatars. For example, the Ni represents the number of identities, Ng the number of Gaussians, and N the number of parameters. And then we apply CP decomposition to factorize this, or to decompose this tensor into three matrices. The first matrix, U1, represents identity. The second matrix represents Gaussians, and the third represents the parameters of Gaussians. And then, after applying CP decomposition, we get a canonical space, and we use the 3D Gaussian splatting pipeline, or 3D Gaussian splatting avatar pipeline to animate the avatars from the canonical space to the observation space. But the limitation with this method is that we use a single rank. For example, for the matrix that represents identities, we use R, for example, here it can be 110, I don't know, it's a hyperparameter. And it's the same used for the matrix that represents the number of Gaussians, and same rank used for representing the parameters of Gaussians. And also, those type of models, they don't take into account the spatial order of Gaussians into the 3D space. That's why we propose our model, MISTA. So this model, we take a random 3D Gaussian initialized from canonical SMPL, and then we reorder this 3D Gaussians using 3D Hilbert. It's a space filling curve to reorder the Gaussians from chaos to an ordered list of Gaussians. And then we reshape this tensor by minimizing an adjacency score. And after that, we apply Tensor Train decomposition. So we have, for example, here, the tensors, and each tensor represents a mode. For example, for the first tensor, it represents the identities, and those tensors represent the Gaussian mode, and the last one represents parameters of Gaussians. And after multiplication, we get the canonical space, and we animate this space with the 3D GS avatar pipeline. So we have three MLPs. The first MLP is non-rigid MLP to animate the Gaussians accordingly with the pose. So we predict the the pose, the scale, and the rotation. And after that, we use a rigid MLP to animate the Gaussian, the avatar from canonical space to the observation space. And finally, we use the color MLP to predict the color from some learned features. So if we want to zoom in into the Hilbert part, so as you can see in the image, we have like a chaos. So the Gaussians are not ordered, and we want to order these Gaussians to, when we apply tensor decomposition, it will be more effective because we reduce the correlations between Gaussians if we order them in the 3D space. So and after that, I present the results for. So first, the quantitative results. We have 5 metrics. The 3 first metrics is for perceptual quality or visual quality, and the 4th is for a frame per second rate, and the last one is the number of parameters per model. So our model is MISTA, and the mix is, here I use the 2 configurations, meaning the first one is the rank that has been used in the article or the paper, and the second one just to compare the quality if we have almost the same number of parameters between their model and our model, even it's not totally the same number of parameters. So as you can see, for mix, when we have a rank equal to 10, we get 501,000 parameters, and the L pipes drop to, or not drop, it's we have a 45 in L pipes. Meanwhile, our method had just 36 in L pipes, which means even we have much lower parameters, we get better visual quality. So as I said, our model used only 6.5% of mixed parameters while achieving comparable quality with the reference mix. So here we have qualitative results. We used enhancing view. So the model was trained using just one single camera. And here we try to see the avatar from another view. For example, for this case, it's the second camera. So as you can see, for mix, when you have the rank equal to 10, the quality is really bad. It's not photorealistic. Here is the reference when we have 5 million parameters, and here our method, we have just 324, I think. Yeah, 32600 parameters, 100,000 parameters. This is another avatar or another person that we try to present. So the same observation of the previous one, but still for our method we have some problems in the legs, for example, here. But for mix, it represents the legs really well. So that, what is the problem here is when we use, for their method or our method, when we use like a pose that we didn't saw in the training, and this pose is really, really complex. So what I try to do here is to animate this avatar using the pose of this one. And in training, we didn't see the pose of this person. But this pose is really complex, and in training we saw just some simple poses. As you can see, this person or the other one, they do just simple poses in this dataset. And before we didn't have access to this dataset, so we didn't train our model into using this dataset. And here an ablation study between our model, but without Hilbert, meaning we use Tensor Train to decompose, but we don't use Hilbert. So just to show that without using the reordering, the quality really dropped. So we saw. As you can see, the face is really and here we try to compare different configurations of our method, which means we try to reshape the global tensor or the big tensor to 4D and to 6D and to 5D, and we observed that when we have balanced reshaping, that improves quality. As you can see here, the number of parameters, and in the y-axis we have L pipes. So the MISTA with 5D shape with almost balanced reshaping, 50, 40, 40, and 25. We get the model that gives the best quality with much less number of parameters. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you.
There are any questions in the room or online? Well, I can start with the things I understand. Frame per second, number of parameters. I was curious, when you presented the result, you have, for mix with R equal to 10, you have comparable number of parameters with MISTA, but with mix R equal to 100, you have 10 times more parameters, but the frame per second are basically the same for the three. How do you explain that? No change in performance.
Yeah, the frame per second is so it's related to the the projection of the Gaussians into the 2D plane. So it's not related to how much number of parameters we have.
So there is a bottleneck over there.
Yes.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So how much does it use the fact that it's a human? I mean, if you want to reuse a model to model a cat or a building or whatever, does it work right away? How much does it use this shape, the human shape?
I didn't understand which shapes.
Sorry. So maybe let's imagine we try to use your model from a single view, from a single camera views of a cat. Does it work or not?
For cat?
Yes.
Then we need an SMPL of a cat. We have to initialize the Gaussians from this SMPL. And then,
What is SMPL?
SMPL is a 3D representation that represents for example, here the person with the shape parameters, meaning the shape parameters. How much is shape parameters? How can I say shape parameters? La longueur, largeur, je sais pas, de la personne. And pose parameters, meaning the rotations of the joints, etc.
And these parameters, are they within the 300K parameters of your model, or are they external?
External.
And how big are they?
So for this case, they capture them with, for example, it may be using, how can I say, the captures, the capteurs.
Mm-hmm.
The sensor, yes, and or we can use AI-based models to estimate those parameters from monocular videos.
And are there many parameters? Is it in this SMP model? Is it comparable to your model, or is it something much smaller?
How it's comparable to my model? Because I mean, we use the SMPL as it is.
Okay.
To initialize our Gaussians, we don't. We use all the parameters of SMPL, meaning the rotation parameters, the translation parameters.
Okay, so then you can forget about them, and you keep only use 300K parameters, and they are sufficient to represent the avatar.
We always need the pose parameters. Always. Okay. Just the shape, we don't need it. I mean, the shape parameters, we don't need it because the Gaussians they have their parameters for scale, the rotation, etc. So they code the appearance of the avatar. So we don't need shape parameters of SMPL, but we indeed need the pose parameters.
Okay.
To animate
and what about occlusions? Are there occlusions there, or is it people they jump enough in front of the camera for occlusions to not appear?
For this data set, the limitation is the person rotates. This is the ground truth, as you can see in the left. So the person rotates into, showing other parts of his body.
Yeah.
But if we really use just one perspective or one viewpoint, meaning the person don't rotate or anything, that gives much lower quality.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I try to respond to the question of the occlusion. So here, one of the advantages of a model to put multiple identities in a same tensor. It's interesting to solve the problem of occlusion because so some part of the body of the first person may be occluded, but the same parts of this of another person may not be occluded in another video. So if we put all of this in a single tensor, and we try to have a single model to model all these avatars at the same time, we can solve this by our low rank approximation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Any other question?
We can see that you have similar results via the metrics between MISTA and MIX with an R of 100, but visually we can see very different artifacts. For MISTA, you have, it seems to be, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me a little bit more blurry and some artifacts appeared on the legs. How do you explain those different artifacts between one method and another?
I don't know, maybe the problem with those models that they rely on a rank. So maybe if we used another set of ranks, that the quality will be much better. If we use another, the quality drop, you know. So, for example, as I said, ranks are hyperparameters. So for MISTA, for example, if I use I tried other ranks, but for sure I can't try all the ranks that are possible. And we tried to estimate those ranks using, integrating this process into the learning process. So based on the loss of rendering, we can estimate the ranks that we need.
Okay.
But it didn't really get great results. So that's why we stuck to just using the ranks as hyperparameters. So I don't really know how to explain those type of artifacts, because there are a lot of things that,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I may have another question for slide 11.
11, yes.
For slide 11, it's the first time I see this video.
Yeah. I just did it yesterday.
Yes, it's interesting to show that, and here we can clearly see the limitation of our method and also
Yes.
method of mix, because there's quite effect of flickering, and it's correct, the color change a lot.
Yes.
I think it's because we put all the identities in the same
And
color.
same, yes.
So it's maybe it's because the MRP we presented.
Exactly.
We have one color MRP per time instance. So I think the MP for the region movement and the local movement should be good, because we see the movement is quite continuous in time, but the color is not continuous.
Exactly. Yes.
I think the problem is
The MLP.
so it's maybe
So we can give it a try. Yeah.
yeah, we can try to solve this problem in the future.
That's very good. Let's thank our speaker again.